Hello, welcome to Rebel Base, IGN's weekly Star Wars. Pack it in! Daniel, you like Star Wars Battlefront, the game, which came out last year, don't you?
Yeah.
How much do you like it?
Quite a lot. I've played it quite a bit.
Yeah. So this week they sort of outlined some plans for like expansions, or it's DLC. Come on, let's be honest. They outlined some plans for
Well,
what
are they not calling it DLC?
They're calling it expansions.
I think
it's a bit rich to call like one level an expansion, frankly.
Well, it is an expansion.
It is an expansion. They got me there.
Yeah,
it is an
like, that is the
expansion,
definition of the word.
Damn you, yeah, you done it again.
But I think publishers have started doing that with DLC. Like they think DLC has like the taint of
it does
greed, or avarice.
I kind of have to think that because like downloadable content, like you do think. If I think DLC, do you know what I think of? Like when people were kicking off with Capcom before because all the characters that they were going to be releasing down the line are actually on the disc.
Yeah, I think
so that's what when I think DLC.
I
That's
think there's
actually
been
what
a
I think
succession of those instances where now people think it's them getting shafted.
Yeah.
Where expansion sounds positive because it feels like the original thing was at full size.
Yeah. But now we're expanding.
Like when you have a little like conservatory built on. Like my mum and dad got a conservatory built on. Never used it. It was
Really?
too cold in there.
In Blackburn, I guess it would be.
Yeah,
wouldn't
so
it?
just never used it. I had this whole room we had just to keep a couple of chairs in and a cactus.
A friend of mine in South Wales has got a conservatory, and I really like that room because it's like, if it's raining, you can just hear all the time. It's really relaxing. The cat likes it as well.
Yeah. Back to Star Wars.
Yeah. So they've outlined all their expansion stuff for the next couple of things, and like to be fair, like they give away Battle of Jakku for free. So this is kind of some of the stuff that's coming up, right?
Okay.
So in March, you get Star Wars Battlefront Outer Rim, right? Which is fight them in the factories Celeste and battle within Jabba the Hutt's palace on Tatooine.
So
that's awesome.
The first bit, I'm not that bothered about. It could be interesting if like they're building AT-ATs and you're like dodging in between machines. It doesn't sound the most interesting. But the second one, for that one,
battle within Jabba the Hutt's palace.
Yeah,
that'll be awesome. I really like the sound of that. So that's coming in March 2016.
Imagine if you get grabbed by the Rancor.
That's got to be in there.
Yeah, you just push people in.
Rancor's got to be in there. Like, what else will be in that? Like
probably Jabba the Hutt.
I don't think he will. Or he'll be somewhere where you can't get to him.
Oh yeah, I don't mean he's like in the middle going, what's happening
You're not
here?
going around his throne room.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Could be at night where everyone's sleeping in the one room like a big sleepover.
That's so weird.
It is odd, isn't it?
Little sleepovers. The other one is Bespin. So it's a hunt or be hunted in this action-packed experience set in the cloud city of Bespin.
Which is good.
That's what we said from the beginning, in fairness. That's good.
Yeah.
This one, it's all right, I think. That's no moon. It's the Death Star. One of the most iconic locations in Star Wars universe makes its debut in Star Wars Battlefront. Now, that's fair enough but what's it going to be? Just a bunch of metal rooms.
What's it going to be? A bunch of metal, quite iconic rooms. They look like the hangar. It's pretty iconic. Yeah. All those kind of.
I was thinking the corridors.
There might be corridors in it, but there could be the bit with the little with the shields.
Yeah. Oh, what if you have the bit where like Luke falls down?
Yeah,
that'd be quite good.
He's falling down again.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable.
Or like where the Emperor dies and stuff like that. Like I think that'd be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really good. But this is the
Throne
one.
room,
This is the one that I'm really excited about, right? So they were pretty upfront with what they were doing because they've even been upfront with like they've reduced like the damage that you take from Boba Fett's guns and things like that. Like they've kind of
balancing.
Yeah, they kind of balanced it out based on what people have been saying. But this is the one I'm really excited about, right? So it's just called Star Wars Battlefront Expansion Pack 4.
I can see why you would like that.
Title TBA. Early 2000, and it's coming into early 2017.
Unwieldy.
We will have more details to share about this exciting new expansion pack in the coming months.
Now, what do you think?
What is coming out, Daniel? Late 2016.
Is it Star Wars?
Yes, it is a Star Wars
story.
Yes, it's a Star Wars story.
Rogue One.
Rogue One is coming out, yeah.
It's probably that, isn't it?
So last year, for The Force Awakens, the Battle of Jakku came out in November, I think it was, like just before the film. So you could have a little taste of Jakku. I think this one, the expansion pack 4, is going to be a Rogue One themed expansion.
Yeah, and I think that is a nice way for them to incorporate stuff from new movies without it being Force Awakens and them having to like redo all the stormtroopers and so many things, and you have to ditch all the heroes to preserve continuity and canonicity. This is a really good way because Jakku, the Battle of Jakku took place just after the events of Return of the
right.
Jedi, so it's still the same kind of timeline, and you can't have heroes on that map.
Yeah.
To preserve a sense of continuity.
Well, this is the thing. That's one of the big things we said. Like, well, that's one of the kind of things we like Battle of Jakku, but you can't play as the heroes because they're quite strict, and as well they should be. They're quite strict with, where the heroes.
It's a really fine line of like who's controlling this, because the way that they've always pitched Battlefront is it's like a toy box, and it kind of does exist outside of continuity, but with restrictions. You can't do anything too crazy.
Yeah.
And what's quite cool if this
is... Emperor's not like pulling up the front of this thing.
You can't have him do that.
That'd be funny.
Is it a cassock? Would you call it a cassock?
Don't know. Yeah.
He's more than just an old boy.
Yeah. I'd like to see that.
What? Him lift up his cassock?
Yeah. I'd like to see some mods where he's like wearing like slinky clothes and stuff, and just coming up and touching people on the shoulder, and that's his special move. Like, and he runs away.
Yeah, I don't think you should go back into modding.
If I knew how to mod, that's what I'd be doing. But I never learned.
No.
And I think we're all better for it, to be honest.
Yeah, so again, to get back to what we were talking about.
Yes.
Rogue One, the rumour is, I read this rumour this week as well, that from Joe Blow, the movie website, that Darth Vader...
Not just dude on the street.
Yeah. There's a rumour already out there that Darth Vader will appear in this movie, and they've stated that they believe that is going to be a much more extensive role than just a cameo.
Right.
So he might be the principal antagonist of the movie. And obviously, really easy to do Darth Vader in a very credible way because you can have a
dude in a suit.
James
Earl Jones still alive.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do that without it being like, if they do CGI Grand Moff Tarkin for a Time movie, it might fall down throughout a 100-minute movie. Yeah. But you can do that brilliantly.
No problem.
So if that's the case, and this is a Rogue One map, boom, you put Darth Vader in it.
I think it's going to be, like, imagine in Rogue One, like, because it's obviously, that's a good thing, because this is happening along that time, so there's no problem having the heroes in it. But also, like the Kieran Gillen comic, like Vader, where he's doing this, he's chasing down like the rebels and stuff, but he's also got other stuff to do. Maybe this is going to be one of the other stuff to do. So their main person that isn't Darth Vader, but you will see Vader as a big part of it as well. Yeah. Also.
Yeah, and also, a thing that's kind of, I really enjoy playing in Battlefront, but isn't the most kind of expanded part of the game or fleshed out, is the dogfights. Yeah. That could be a huge part of the expansion as well.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Well, we think Rogue One is going to be in Star Wars Battlefront. That's basically what it is, right? Now, the other week as well, we were talking about the possibility of Episode 8 being even darker than Episode 7. We were thinking, how could such a thing be true? But we had a few emails from different people saying, actually, if you think about it, like the other films don't get the sort of credit for how dark and like adult they actually are. Because a lot of people think, Star Wars for kids maybe.
It can be quite light-hearted in some ways.
Exactly, yeah, and it can be. But at the same time, there's so much effed up stuff going on in those films, right? These are some things that I think are messed up that happen.
Do they mess you up in particular?
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Big time, big time. Actually, this one definitely, right? So there's some really messed up jump scares, number one. Like the weird flying bats that live inside the space slugs, like that used to really scare me.
That scene really reminds me of like Alien.
Yeah, it's
when they're totally in the dark and it comes out of nowhere, and there's something about them, they're a little bit geeky.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen that scene since a million times as well now. Maybe it's just in Futurama. But like, if you ever can't think, where did I see that? Oh, it's Futurama or Simpsons. But yeah, also the Wampa as well, like the surprise Wampa. He comes out of nowhere.
I do like the surprise Wampa that you've written here.
Don't read out my notes to people.
Okay, sorry.
It's a window inside my mind that I don't want people to see through.
This looks like a child in therapy.
No, it doesn't.
The surprise Wampa.
I'm just glad that I'm allowed to type in. You don't see my handwritten notes, because that is like the scrawlings of John Doe in 7.
Gav, why are all these
written
notes,
in your own shit?
Why are you using fingernails as post-its?
I'll do what I want. Okay, number 2, Revenge of the Sith. No legs, Anakin on fire.
This is particularly horrible.
It's horrible.
Little Stumpy. Yeah, and he's got like the red eyes. It's these red eyes that kind of make it really horrifying to me.
There's a lot of stuff going on in this, all right? So 1, it looks gross. 2, it's dangerous. But also...
It's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
Just a little bit.
It's super dangerous. It's really dangerous. But also, what's really messed up about this is Obi-Wan just leaves him. doesn't even finish him off. Like, he like slices him up and then he just leaves him to.
But to his credit, you'd think he's a goner. Like, he's sliding into the lot. Yeah, so
that's what I mean. But he doesn't.
Do you think you should put him out of his suffering?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he does say, "I loved you."
But then you want to put him out of his misery and be like.
Also,
you've cut his arms and legs
it's a win-win. Put him out of his misery and make sure.
Yeah, the make sure thing is a really big thing in the Star Wars universe, because imagine about all the different stuff that he could have stopped.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, just putting him out of his misery. Like, you obviously don't care about causing this man pain. You have just sliced him up, like, beyond repair. Although
I do like that bit where when he gets the higher ground, and he's like, "Don't try it." It's just like, it's almost like the win card. Well, when you just before you take him on, just stand above him in the first place. But he's like, "Can't do it, Anakin. Got the higher ground." Does that beat everything?
Well, he probably knows what's going to happen, doesn't he? Like, they can sense what's going to happen in the fight. But obviously, like, Anakin's clouded by darkness, so he's probably not as clear on the situation.
But they can't sense exactly what's going to happen, because the future can change.
I reckon...
Because if everything was predestined, nobody would ever do anything.
Yeah, I know that. But I reckon if you are a little bit touched by the Force, right, and you're clear and you're good, if you're about to slice up one of your best mates, I reckon you'd have an inkling who's coming.
Do you think that's guiding you in that moment? And also, I love that you reduce the Force, this mystical force that permeates everything and binds us together.
Yeah.
You called it an inkling. I've got a bit of an inkling here.
There's been an inkling in the
Force. You know why in New Hope, you know how he can take down the Death Star? Had an inkling.
Had an inkling.
He had an inkling.
All right, number 3 then. Luke's aunt and uncle charred corpses. So Uncle Owen and Aunt Beryl get burned to death.
Yeah, I recently watched A New Hope with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's not seen it before, and it gets that bit. She wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
You can also buy action figures of them charred, like
I don't think you
real
actually
ones,
can you?
Not real ones.
Oh, right, okay.
Like fan-made ones.
Right, yeah. Because I've always seen those
little
like
kids.
things.
I want this one.
Yeah. But also, one, Uncle Owen is actually a bit of a dick, I think.
He doesn't deserve that.
You know, he doesn't deserve that. I know that, and definitely Aunt Beryl doesn't. But like Luke's reaction, like after they're burnt, is pretty ruthless. He's just like, "Should we go? No, we're done." Yeah, like he
nothing for me here now.
He forgets about it pretty quickly. Same with like Anakin and his mum in the first film. Like he's just like, "See ya, off now."
I don't know. I think it does. It obviously stays with Anakin a bit more.
But definitely more
But
than
Luke is just more like, well...
Oh, these people have just...
he's having a good time by the end of the movie.
They just raised you from a child.
There's no moment later on where he's like...
I did this for you.
They're trying to protect me. Yeah, there's none of that.
No, I know. Okay, here we go. This is actually a pretty nasty one that I used to hate when I was a kid. Droids torturing other droids. In Jabba's palace, we see droids doing naughty things to other droids.
Also on Bespin as well, like ripping C-3PO. I know they're not droids, but like... There's a lot of cruelty and dismemberment of droids.
Yeah. Why are they programming all these droids to feel pain?
Yeah, what's the... Well, one of the theories of why you would...
Not him,
basically program a droid to feel pain is to give them a survival instinct.
Okay.
Because if you feel pain, that you'd be averse to it, and therefore you would... The reason you feel pain. There's no real...
I guess so.
That's why you don't feel pain and go, "Oh, that's nice."
But look at the state on him. What's the point of giving that one a bit of pain? Also...
Look at the state of him.
But also, he's obviously done something to warrant... Like, what are droids doing to warrant that kind of torture? Did he deserve it or what?
I don't know.
I've got no kind
Wrong
of context
calculation.
And same as like, the droids like having their feet burned and stuff like that. Like, why have they got...
Why have they got nerve endings?
It's weird, isn't it? What's going on in this universe, man? I mean, it's...
What upsets you? What disturbs you more, them feeling pain or the logic of it?
No, the logic of it is fine. I hadn't thought about that.
Okay,
but
it's more the fact they're suffering needlessly.
Yeah.
Also, I think
it's droids torturing other droids.
Also, I think it's presented as like. Also, what I think makes it disturbing is the film kind of presents it as like, was it a little bit funny?
It's not.
I think they do though. I don't think they film it in a way where it's like, this is horrifying.
Oh, no, they definitely do.
It's like,
look at this.
Look at this poor sod.
Look at this idiot. The one that's upside down when it's like burning his feet. That is definitely played for laughs. It's like, ha, and he's like, ooh, hee, and he's like making all these like Jim Henson type noises. When actually, it's like imagine having your feet burned.
Yeah, imagine torturing Jim Henson.
All right. The Jedi are pretty all right with slavery.
Yeah.
We've talked about this so many times.
Yeah.
But in The Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan just sort of leave Anakin behind. They're just like, oh, I could free you, but I can't free your man. Why not?
Gotta pick your battles, mate.
Like,
that's what you gotta do.
Slavery's fine. And we kind of see that. It's not quite clear whether or not Rey is actually a slave.
It's ambiguous. I don't think she is, because I think she's like an independent contractor.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I think
she seems to live alone. No one's making her go somewhere, but she needs to survive. She's like a slave to a system.
But at the same time,
we all are.
Get another
Capitalism.
job. Get another job, Rey.
Yeah.
Like, in fairness, I was just talking to my girlfriend about this now, because like some people who work with her, like she's the youngest in like a really old office, and like they dobbed her in for like WhatsApping me. I'm like, oh, she's always on her phone, that one. She's fucking 27 years old. I was like, just leave, get another job. She was like, it's not as easy as that. But I was like, well. That's what I mean to Rey. Why didn't Rey get another job? Surely there's other stuff going than just going out. But she kind of likes that, I guess.
Yeah. I feel we might have diluted slavery by just saying it's having a job.
Oh yeah, it's not.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but that's what I mean. But Rey is not like that's what I'm saying. Rey isn't a slave. No. It's more like a job. But the Jedi are alright with slavery.
Yeah, they're not too perturbed by it, unless it's someone who's enslaved that they quite like.
But yeah, that's the thing. But because that doesn't make any sense. He doesn't say like when they turn up and all these people are slaves, they're all like, shit, Qui-Gon, these people are slaves, man. And they're like, oh my god, slave. They're just like, all right, yeah, this one belongs to that one, so let's just free him. Yeah. Like, that's it. That's how much they deal with slavery. That's wrong. That's wrong. Lots of kids dying in Revenge of the Sith, number 6.
Yeah.
Like, this little guy here, the little stumble back that he does is so sad.
Do you think that they try to get the cutest kid possible?
He's pretty cute, isn't he?
He's like, let's find what role is this? Well, we're just gonna.
He looks a lot like Anakin.
His parents.
He looks like young
Anakin. His
Anakin.
parents taking him for the audition. What's this? Basically, your kid's going to be the first kid that's going to be killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to see him in that role.
Can you make him look scared? Oh yeah, you can look scared. What do you mean? I mean, maybe I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah. we can do that. Just give us 5 minutes before. Just let us know when you're shooting.
I put this little kid is a terrible actor, but it's still out of order to kill him. I don't think he's a terrible actor. I don't even remember.
Why have you written that then?
I don't know.
Also, in what world would that be justifiable? And once again, you're blurring reality with the fiction. You're letting...
Look.
You should never direct a film.
Did you write that?
You never direct a film. Action finished like, right, so, oh God, we still need to steal these Death Star plans. How are we doing this? You don't have to.
What? Did you write that?
No, I really didn't.
Because I generally have no recollection of writing that.
You've written this. The little kid is a terrible actor, but that is still out of order.
I think we should go on number 7. Number 7, Darth Vader is absolutely fine with torturing his daughter.
He doesn't know it's his daughter, though.
What?
He doesn't know it's his daughter at that point, does he?
Doesn't he?
No. I don't think he does.
He must do.
I don't think he does. It's just still, it's not kept from him at that point.
How does...
Obviously, right, again, even though what I just said to you, let's just take them as two distinct things. Mm-hmm. Star Wars as a thing that George Lucas wrote back in the early 70s. Mm-hmm. I don't think he had it fully fleshed out. Obviously, we know this from speaking to other people and other writers, that he didn't know exactly that Luke and Leia were going to be brother and sister. Originally, it was going to be a romance. So that element might not have been put down during that scene.
Right, that's fair enough then.
But still,
he does
still tortures her with a really horrible torture device.
He sends her to the ITO droid, which is really, really gross. And a fun little fact for you, the needle that's about to go into her says British made on it. So
best in the world.
We're really good at making needles.
Best in the world.
Okay, the Jedi are fine with making kids orphans. So Mace Windu kills Jango Fett right in front of his son.
In many ways, you can't blame Anakin, can you? He's just doing what he's seen around him.
Yeah.
He's just...
this is from one of the novels, and this is what's going through Mace Windu's head, right?
Okay.
In my dreams, my blade doesn't light the underside of Fett's square jaw. I don't waste time with words. I don't hesitate. I believe. Isn't that cool? But still, you are killing someone's dad right in front of them, though.
I feel like I can see him in the mirror like every day going, don't hesitate. Believe in yourself. Like a little pep talk every day is like, people like Yoda more than you.
Do you ever say things? Do you ever give yourself a pep talk in the morning?
Not a pep talk.
Would you?
I just you don't want to know.
Thing is, I've realized recently, because I'm in basically a kind of new relationship, that the amount of things that I do that normal people don't do when they're by themselves is a lot.
What do you do?
I don't want to talk about it, but
you obviously do. You brought it up.
No, but I don't want to like go on it. But it's just weird stuff like shouting, making really
shouting.
Yeah.
Why are you shouting?
I'll just shout a noise in the flat. I'll just be walking, I'll be cooking, and I'll just let out like it's almost like I have no control over it, and I'll just like make a really annoying,
I thought
really
Welsh.
loud noise. But there's lots of stuff like absolutely belting out songs, like
skidding in your undies, not that kind.
Forward rolls.
Are you tumbling over?
Yeah.
Why are you doing forward rolls?
I don't know. Just always done it. Just like. If I'm going to the kitchen...
You're not a Romanian gymnast.
If I'm going to the kitchen, I'll just do a forward roll. Don't know. I've always done it.
Well, to get to it... Oh, sorry. To get to your kitchen, you do a forward roll, or also known as cockle over.
Not to get there. It's not like a mode of transportation. But I might just, if I fancy it, do a forward roll.
Right. We're already in a digression, but I'm going to take a slight... subsequent digression. Were you there when we had this conversation with some of our US colleagues when we said forward roll and they thought forward roll is a somersault? So when you and I think it was you, where we were saying, I'm doing forward roll.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
You and I cannot do somersaults.
What are you saying? What are you saying? Why can't I do a somersault? I can do whatever I believe in, but I cannot do a somersault.
Can't do somersaults. A forward roll is not a somersault.
All right, well, there we are then. That is why those are some scenes that will F you up in the Star Wars universe, right?
Okay.
Have we got any force feedback?
We've got absolutely loads.
Excellent. Shall I kick off?
No, I'm going to kick off. I'm going to kick off with you. Right.
Okay.
So, this guy, Lorenzo Calder Smith.
What an amazing name.
Yeah. He might have a spoiler here, so I'm going to call this Lorenzo's Spoil. Do you get that?
No, I don't.
You've never seen the film Lorenzo's Oil?
No.
Jesus. Right, okay. Whilst hunting for canonical stories that I might have missed, I came across this short story, which is apparently part of the new canon and was posted on the Star Wars website, StarWars.com. It's an official one. He's not just found
I could have
something.
guessed that, I think.
No, but I just want you to meet. There's lots of Star Wars websites, but I want you to know that this is a credible thing.
Okay, right.
You need this out. I read through and came across a drawing of the Admiral at the helm of the Devastator Star Destroyer after Vader upgraded to his Super Star Destroyer. This is a picture of Admiral Jared Montferrat. Do you want to see a picture of this dude?
Yep.
Okay. Now, who do you think might be playing that guy?
Oh my God. That's
Can you describe what you're looking at?
It's Mads Mikkelsen.
It's Mads Mikkelsen. Now, he's saying he looks identical to Mads Mikkelsen. The timing works out too. The way he's presented makes him seem like the badass kind of character you might expect him to play too.
Yeah.
Will he be turning up in Rogue One? So I did some digging in this. This was made in 2014, and
Okay.
I don't. Obviously, the picture that is unquestionably Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
And the artist was obviously inspired by him. Also inspired by him in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's got the scar and the eye out as well.
Did you have an eye out?
Did he have
No, that's
damage eye?
Blofeld who has his.
Oh yeah, he had damage.
Yeah.
What did he do? Cry blood.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. He's obviously just copied his face.
Yeah.
I think this is really unfortunate rather than planning.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Like it happens
Yeah.
all the time. Like artists and especially it happens all the time in comics, where comic artists will take someone's likeness and just use it.
Yeah.
Like the one that springs to mind is in Garth Ennis's The Boys.
Yeah.
Like there's a character who is Simon Pegg.
Yeah. The
Like,
Hobbit.
Come on.
Hey, you had a go at me last week. Come on now.
I didn't have a go. I said you got a little gnome face. That's cute.
Mr.
It's
Toad.
endearing. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
This is from Aaron Hadley in Idaho, USA. I know it's silly because we're obviously a global website and stuff like that, but I do kind of get excited when I see like
Loads of people
Idaho,
from Australia
USA.
wrote in this week.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's another Snoke. Oh, Aaron.
No, we need to address it. He's got
All right,
very
fine.
good criticisms of our points.
Okay, fine. This is about the Snoke Plagueis theory. I really hope that Snoke is Plagueis, and for one primary reason. I want Disney to show they don't disregard the prequels, rather they embrace them and recognize them as a central and important part of the Star Wars saga. Yeah. I don't agree with your evidence as to why it can't be Plagueis. The fact that Plagueis is a Mun is no longer canon, so they could have chosen anything they wanted, male, female, Mun, or Gungan for that matter. That's actually a good point.
That's a good point, and apparently in that novel, that bit of information came from George Lucas himself. So it's whether you want to say that Disney will disregard that, and I'm sure they'll have no problem in disregarding something he said to a novelist.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm right with it. The word of George. Right. A new animated Star Wars show set after Jedi. This is from Chris Hartman, who's pitching the show. Idea for a new animated show set directly after Return of the Jedi. The original trio could be background characters, but the show would be more on the last of the rebels still fighting all over the galaxy as the Republic is rebuilt in the central planets.
That's what Shattered Empire is.
The comic, yeah, but I feel like there's more to explore. And also, it'll reach a much bigger audience. Because I think one thing that a lot of people are confused at, what happened after Jedi?
Yeah.
And I think there is room there for them to do an animated series. I have also put this in because early in the week I went to the London Toy Fair and checked out some stuff that Lego are releasing later in the year. And
Is this the toy fair that had the Rogue One costumes?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's one in Nuremberg as well.
Right, yeah.
As I went through the Lego stand, which was all behind closed doors.
Why? Even to you?
No, I was behind closed doors.
Oh, right, yeah.
I didn't just go around the perimeter of the stand.
Yeah.
I was inside it.
I was going to say,
it's like a maze.
I was going to say, it takes no time to do it. You had the afternoon.
And I went through, when I got to the Star Wars bit, on the left-hand side of the room was all the kind of the stuff that's kind of just came out last year, the new microfighters, and then the new little £20 sets. So the one that I've got on my desk, which is kind of the carbon freezing chamber, the Hoth set, and all that. And
the carbon freezing chamber is one of the £20 ones?
Yeah.
I'm going to buy that right now.
And that's all, we'll finish the show first. And the guy was showing me all these, and I was like, yeah, I know. And I was just ready to turn around, because to my right-hand side, there was loads of new stuff.
Okay.
And as I turned around, there was people stood in front of it. They hadn't got clearance to show it to the press, and they rushed me through, and I couldn't see any of it.
You're like, let me through. Like,
yeah. It's like, because they were okay to
like
show
Rose
that.
at the end of Titanic. Let me have a look. What's there?
They were happy to show that to like people who like toy, like retailers.
The Monopoly bag.
But not on me. So they pushed me through, but I've since been on the internet and found details of those other sets.
Oh yeah.
And two of them are small sets based on, and this is probably the reason they want me to see this, based on, apparently, according to this Lego fan site, based on a new unannounced Star Wars animated series.
Ooh.
So it took a long time to get there, but that's what I wanted to tell you.
That's really interesting. I like that. Well done. Here we go. This is Ben Jett from Brisbane, Australia. Do you think an animated young Han Solo TV series would be a better option than a live-action movie? We wouldn't have to worry about an actor not looking like Harrison Ford because there'd be talented artists taking care of that. Plus, there'd be more time to explore Han Solo's backstory in a TV series than with a 2-hour movie. That's good, but the movie's already happening. So
yeah.
Do you know what? I'm cautious. I don't know why, because we haven't seen Rogue One or anything yet. I'm still kind of cautiously optimistic about the Han Solo film. It's not going to be really rubbish, is it? Is it?
I don't know. It gets to a point where, I don't know, some of these films, there's too much invested. They're not going to be awful, are they? Like, there's too many people's eyes on them, too many people working on them.
In fairness, we had this conversation because I was convinced, like absolutely convinced, that Ant-Man was going to be a load of old ass. Like, I was just convinced. And,
you really were.
You had a really good point, which was just like, no matter what, they're always going to be like 3-star films.
I always get, that's why I think, that's why,
films.
Also because like we're in a privileged position and it's also our jobs and we're fans anyway. We've seen a lot of films and we watch a lot of films.
Yeah.
And it's like when people go, that's a bad film, it's like, you haven't seen really bad film. Like, it's not bad. Like, bad films don't even hold together. Like, the Fantastic Four movie is an interesting point because it's one of the few times in recent years that I think such a big movie has really gone wrong and been properly broken. Yeah. Because regardless of what, I keep saying this, I said it on a podcast as well, regardless of what you think of Transformers movies, those are the films that Michael Bay wants to make. Yeah. He's making them to the design, nobody, like, he's doing them. They're 3 hours long and they're noisy as hell and don't make a lot of sense. But it is his design. Yeah. Whereas I think the Marvel movies, I think you're right, they're not going to slip below 3-star movies.
No. To me, Marvel is more, and Disney and Star Wars and stuff, working on those, for me, feels more, well, this is what I think anyway, would feel more like working on like a really established TV show. You know, like when like Sopranos or something, like you get guest directors and things. Like Steve Buscemi did a bunch of episodes for The Sopranos. So he's coming in and like, you know, he's directing an episode. Still looks like Sopranos. Like,
I think so. Yeah,
you know, it's not going to be. It's like, I guess you can kind of say Rian Johnson's episodes of Breaking Bad do kind of change with that, because I think like Fly, that's a different episode, because that's kind of like a concept episode. But even his other episode, which is part of the last series, like that feels like a Rian Johnson thing, like the cuts, the way that it's shot.
I think, like, I think
with these, I think you're not going to have that much time to stamp your own things on it. I don't think.
I don't know. I feel there is room for. I think because they make them quickly and they want to control the overarching story, so there needs to be a degree of things already put in place before you get individual creative people on board.
Yeah.
I think it just helps, like, sometimes to have all that machinery in place. Yeah, you know what? Ryan Coogler can't decide who's going to play Black Panther because, I'm sorry, we needed that actor already for another movie.
Yeah.
But you don't bring Ryan Coogler on and he doesn't accept it unless he thinks he can impress some of his personality onto it. Like, I think Ant-Man has, you know, the personality of its creative people involved. So I was
completely wrong about that.
And I think it, like, maybe having that machinery in place just facilitates them to have flourishes. Yeah, it still has to have a kind of in-house style, but you might get more interesting people interested in doing the Star Wars stories because it's not like big as commitment.
Yeah. I actually kind of feel like Gareth Edwards did stamp himself on Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of what you thought of that film, like, I could see Gareth Edwards in that film, I think. Anyway, what's your next one?
Liam Garrison has sent this theory in. Regarding to building up Captain Phasma's background in episode 8 and beyond, I've heard an interesting theory. Phasma is not actually a woman, but a droid. This would explain the monotone voice and overall an emotional pose that we saw in The Force Awakens. I also feel that the use of a droid to command the stormtroopers would be a logical choice for the First Order to make it as it wouldn't be able to feel empathy in any way. The only downside to this theory would be that the first Star Wars live-action female villain wouldn't actually be female at all. What are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely not. Because
I think so.
If she was a droid, why would she, under the threat of being shot, have given up the shields and stuff in Force Awakens? There's absolutely no reason. Like, that's one of my biggest problems with The Force Awakens. If I was a droid, why would you do that? Even as we talked about, like, droids being afraid of being shot and stuff like that. The only good reason to make her a droid is because stuff like that wouldn't happen. So I don't think that's right. So, debunked. Here we go. Dear Furball and the Gnome.
This is not a thing now. That sounds like a kids CITV kids detective show with the leads are like a little bear and a garden gnome.
If anyone didn't listen or watch last week's show, basically I said that if you work for Han Solo, he would pick a distinguishing feature of yours, and that's who he would call you. So for me, it'd be like Fatty Furball, but for Krupa, obviously, his most distinguishing feature is he's got a little gnome face. So this is Chris Thomas writing in, Dear Furball and the Gnome. What is this anyway? Oh yeah, Admiral Piet, here we go. Clearly Piet is Darth Vader's son from an earlier relationship with Padme. This would explain Anakin's sulky behaviour and unexplained rage in the prequel films. He's obviously been hounded by the Space Child Support Agency, and he's trying to hide the fact from his Jedi boss and his girlfriend. Now, if you accept this blindingly obvious theory, then I further suggest the only logical conclusion you can make from this is that Piet is in fact Rey's dad and Vader her granddad. I mean, it was a lot longer than that, but
I think he might be having a bit of a laugh.
It's pretty funny. Actually.
Hence, Dear Furball and the Gnome.
Well done, Chris. I know so many Chris Thomases, by the way.
No, another one now.
Another one, yeah.
Or it might be one of them.
I know at least 3, 4 now.
Lots of Rogue One stuff. So last week we were talking about whether Rogue One might not kind of, like a mainstream audience might not really know what Rogue One is all about, might be confused about it. So we got a lot of Rogue One feedback. And this
I'm
one,
confused.
And this is one from Juliana. He's from Brazil. Bit of Australia, now Brazil. Regarding Rogue One, Brazil, yeah.
Wow.
Regarding Rogue One, he's lying.
Right.
I don't know.
Let's go on.
I'm not going to call him a liar.
Let's go on.
I think he's from Brazil.
He's not lying.
I don't think he is. Regarding Rogue One and how it ties together with the main Star Wars saga, I wonder if we may find out about Rey's parentage in the upcoming movie. I'm pretty sure we won't see any Jedi or Sith in Rogue One. However, one of the most interesting things about The Force Awakens is how the movie shows people that are connected to the Force without necessarily being a part of either the Jedi or Sith order.
Right.
And as Kanata, she says she knows the Force, but she's not a Jedi. Kylo Ren, technically not a Sith, based on that film. Rey, not a Jedi yet. Snoke, and also Max von Sydow's character, Loras von Tekka. Do you think Rogue would deal with the Force in any way, or perhaps just sidestep it?
got to deal with it in a little way, surely, because it exists. At that point, but I guess it's kind of quiet, isn't it? So
yeah, I wonder if like they're just doing it as like a war movie, but then obviously one of the things that I think everyone finds really alluring about Star Wars is the Force. Like it's one of the main.
But then there's no reason why any of the characters can't be like Force sensitive and things like that.
Yeah.
But I've got.
And do you think it will fill in any information about Rey? I think we'll wait till episode 8.
Yeah, I don't think it will be.
I don't think it'll want to.
Yeah, I don't think so at all. It's from Casey Lynn, who says, would like to make a point about Rouge One, not Rogue One. It's a very different film.
We've all done it.
You both had said you were concerned that knowing how it will end will affect the movie, and maybe it won't be as good. There will be movies that are very entertaining and emotional, even with the knowledge of how it will end. Great example is Apollo 13. We all those men did successfully make it back to Earth, but the movie captured the stress and emotion of not knowing it could be done. P.S. I think you guys should totally keep the table. It's as much character part of the show as you guys are. We still haven't got a new table, so you're not tweeting at AlexIGN enough for him to give us a new
Alex
table.
IGN UK.
Is that his name?
Yeah, it's pure sod called Alex IGN. He's just like, I don't know what to do with this, all these tables.
That's bonkers. Yeah, I guess so. I think that's a fair enough point. Like Titanic.
Yeah, I think we did discuss that last week. We said we're too fixated on what happens rather than how well it's executed.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So Tom Wells from Borehamwood.
What's that?
What do you mean? Where is it? Is it England?
Oh, for Idaho, Australia.
England.
Borehamwood. I don't know what it is. I'm really sorry.
Don't even have to change it to boring. Just like emphasize bore.
Oh yeah.
Tom Wells writes in. Thank you, Tom. How will Rogue One start? Will it open with a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, piece that we all know and love? Will we get a normal Star Wars title crawl and then a pan onto a spaceship? At first you think it's a Star Wars film, of course they will, but it's a Star Wars story. So, basically, do they have the freedom to depart from some of that kind of grammar?
I hope not.
Really? Oh, I was going to say yeah.
No, I wanted to tie it together like that.
I think absolutely just keep that stuff for the episodic films. I don't know. I think you can. Well, Rogue One is the movie that has to decide whether they do that or not.
Yeah.
If it does it, I just don't think it needs that. These are all brand new characters, and I feel like it'd be kind of cool just to keep that for the episodic ones. Because at the beginning of the title crawl, episode 9, like episode 7 is such a big, prominent word. I feel like with these, you could just go.
That's a good point, but I also think, as we've said before, they've got a lot of work to do to set this into some kind of context. And those opening crawls are good for chucking stuff into
But equally,
context.
that's a very good point. They're really good. This is basically the most forgivable exposition dump Hollywood does.
Yeah.
It's just text.
Because like now and
it's
again,
not even VO, it's literally just text.
Like we watched a new film the other day and that we can't talk about yet, but there's so much voiceover in it. And like voiceover, I find sometimes it's just so lazy. Like it ties together bad films. Sometimes voiceover is really, really good in films. I'm not saying every bit of voiceover, but sometimes it can be really, really lazy. And I think, as you say, like they use voiceover in a lazy way to put stuff into context. But it's a really forgivable one. Be like, gotta put a crawl on because it's on all of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I think.
What do you think about beyond that? Obviously, for a Star Wars film, it's not going to have John Williams music.
Isn't it?
No. Oh, I do know who it's doing. It's not Thomas Newman.
Okay.
I don't know yet. Like
Randy Newman.
It's
That'd be amazing.
Rogue One.
Randy, you are singing on quite a lot of these tracks. Can we just get the instrumentals?
Do you think we need it during the scene where the Bothans die?
Okay. G'day, Rebel Base. I'm Connor from Australia. He put g'day, not me. Do you think the Rebels will have a tie-in in Rogue One in some way or vice versa? Yes, I do. I don't know how. And he's also put Rouge One.
Everyone's right, it's Rouge One.
Yeah. I do think so, because I think Rebels is getting to the point now.
I've written Rouge One.
Yeah. Rebels is getting to the point now where even people who would dismiss it as just another cartoon, like it's getting mainstream, I think. People are going to absolutely latch on to Rebels. I don't know, I think something massive is going to happen at the end of this season
was
Rebels.
epic.
It's amazing. And I think something huge is going to happen at the end of it that people are going to have to go, holy shit, I need to watch this TV show.
There's something in the trailer that, you'll see it and you'll go, oh, I know what that might be.
Exactly.
This is from Emperor Erg. I'd love to see a Boba Fett movie in the style of the films Dread, Die Hard, or Escape from New York. The film would focus on one night in Boba Fett's life. He would be on a mission to secure the daughter of a crime lord who had been taken hostage by a rival gang.
Dread is a really cool
thing. All those movies are like, I love movies set in one location, like over a short time scale. That's brilliant, actually. That actually bypasses a lot of problems about revealing too much. It's like him just on a mission. Dread's great because obviously obscured face.
Alex Garland's doing it as well. I know there were some rumours that he directed quite a lot of Dread. I know he wrote it.
Yeah.
There's some rumours that he was actually more heavily involved than we actually know. And everyone loves Ex Machina. So let's see Alex Garland do a Boba Fett film in the style of Dread. Imagine that.
Yeah. And he really likes sci-fi, and he really likes Destiny.
Yeah.
We had him on a podcast early last year when Ex Machina just came out, and he played an obscene amount of Destiny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's good. You know Gareth Evans, the director, Welsh. So he's like more well known for doing The Raid with basically all of Kanji Club from Force Awakens. Kanji Club movie. What about a Kanji Club movie?
Yeah.
I actually tweeted.
What do you think they actually do? What kind of club do you think it is? Do you think it's just like treehouse club, or it's like a nightclub?
Isn't kanji like a form of writing, like Japanese writing?
Yeah, kanji is
Maybe they should be writing that. I don't know. I actually said.
Or were they just practicing writing? That sounds rubbish. Not part of that club.
I stupidly said after one of the trailers came out, I kind of put my old little John Thomas on the block and said, if the Knights of Ren, if the guys who are in the Raid and Raid 2, if they're not the Knights of Ren, I will eat my own arse. And obviously they were in the Knights of Ren, they were kanji.
So if you're watching the video version of this, cue the Benny Hill theme.
Eat my own arse.
But they could still be. They could still be.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure that do they consult on the choreography in the film?
If you have... you mean playing both, you mean?
Yeah. There's no reason they can't be. Like, I'm sure they might still be involved going forward. Because that's the thing, they're a cameo in the film that you recognise them, but were they not involved in choreography
They were,
as well?
yeah, they were involved in
So they'll be around going forward, and if you've got all these people in masks, I'm sure they definitely double up.
Oh, there we are then. I don't have to eat my own arse.
Well, yet.
Perfect.
Yet.
Final bit then from Paul Atkinson, who says, considering the mass... Oh, he's from LA. Awesome. I don't know. I'm from Wales. Seeing anything outside...
Are you from Wales? You never mentioned this.
Seeing anything outside the UK that watches our stuff is real... I don't know. Gets me jazzed. Anyway.
Outside the UK, you're from Wales, so Boreham Wood didn't do it for you.
Boreham was in the UK?
Yeah.
I said outside of the UK.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
In fairness, if it was someone from... I didn't really know what Boreham Wood is, all right?
Okay.
I was being silly, and it was quite easy to turn to Boring Wood. Okay?
Yeah.
Paul Atkinson from Los Angeles, California.
He's not watching again, is he?
Considering the massive success of Episode 7, I have a hunch Disney and Lucasfilm might decide to end Episode 9 on a cliffhanger and surprise everyone by announcing Episode 10 shortly thereafter. I know everyone just assumes trilogy because of tradition, but I'm not sure that's too terribly important to the overall saga, especially if Episode 10 would thematically tie the entire previous 9 movies together.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because I do think that's going to tie in with what we're going to talk about next.
Okay.
Is Disney chairman Bob Iger has said there will be more Star Wars, and he's actually also said the Marvel movies will continue forever.
Yeah.
There's so many characters. But some people are quoting him saying he said that about Star Wars.
Yeah.
But what he's saying that there will be more after the Star Wars films that we know about.
Of course there is, yeah.
I don't know how many, I don't know how often, but they'll keep going on. So it's very probable that you and I and people watching or listening to the show will never live to see the end of Star Wars. I wanted to kind of talk about whether you think that's a good thing. Is it better that the story should have an end like it used to?
No. I think maybe like the trilogy can have, it can be a trilogy but still go on, because there's absolutely no way that John Boyega and Daisy Ridley have only got another 2 Star Wars films in them. No way, man.
So
they are new heroes. We're gonna see them. We're gonna see them forever in old stuff. Old John Boyega. Yeah.
So what I was going to say is, to get back to this thing, there's this thing where you can regard the episodic films based on what we know so far as being like the story of the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
That's the one element that kind of goes through all of them.
Yeah.
It's Anakin, and then it's Anakin and his children.
Yeah.
And then going forward, it is the grandson of Anakin.
Yeah.
So again, you've got the Skywalker thing going through there. When this comes to an end, like, do you mean just keep, like, basically we're going to keep the episodic films as just like, it has to have these core characters in them?
No.
Or like after episode 9 finishes, you could start up a new trilogy with completely new characters?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Rather than keep them as like more kind of side story things?
Because like it could just be, right now we're seeing, 9 films in a galaxy far, far away. We could see another 9 films in a galaxy far away. Far, far, far away. Do you know what I mean? Like, the galaxy's massive. Like, there's no reason these can't
and the
go on
universe
forever.
is bigger.
Exactly.
So
there you go. I meant to say universe. But there we go. So, I don't know. I like the point that maybe it will finish like but I never thought, even though this is, they've always said it's going to be a trilogy, I've never thought that that's the end of Star Wars episode blah, 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 blah. I think it's going to go on forever.
That's so weird considering just a few short years ago, there was
like, what's happening with Star Wars?
There's no more Star Wars. We had some Clone Wars. We were filling in gaps.
We had some Clone Wars.
There was going to be like no more Star Wars, and now we're in a position where we feel like, I don't know, like it is great that there's always going to be Star Wars around, but I do find it. Does it undermine, do you think, the story that it won't have an ending, that it's not all going to be planned, like it's going to keep on growing in organic ways, which is what the expanded universe did. And it's what, like, again, obviously they're both owned by Disney now.
Yeah.
But it's actually a really good comparison for what could happen to Star Wars in movies, is what happened to Marvel Comics in comics. You know, you've got all these different writers and artists and creative people working with a shared group of characters. Building stories, sharing stories, and doing their own thing. And the thing that happens with comic books periodically, same that happened in the expanded universe, you get to a point where it's just
bonkers.
It's like an unweeded garden, and you're like, oh my god, it was pretty, but now it's just chaos. We're gonna have to like trim back and like reboot.
But I think,
and it's like you get to a point where you do so many reboots, and in comics it's almost become a thing in itself that is so bonkers. But you don't want to get to a position where things get like wiped away.
No,
we've had that already.
I do think that, but I think that's why Disney are in a really, really good position, that they've taken on Marvel and taken on all the smart people in Marvel, but also looked at what has happened to Marvel and because if you try to explain, if you had a proper Marvel historian sit down and tell you about something, about what's happened in the universe, right? Give you a truncated version. They sat with you down for 2 hours and say, this is how it started, then this happened. Go through all the big stuff. And you were telling to someone you were trying to sell comics to, like say you wanted to get those people into comics. Those people would turn around and they'd never read another Marvel comic again. Like I sometimes feel it, like I'm into comics, but I sometimes feel like super alienated, but I'm just like,
but hence like initiatives like Marvel Now and Now All New, All Different. Like this is what I'm saying, like this one is almost the most kind of aggressive of all the reboots in recent years, following Secret Wars and Battle World. It's like we're resetting all our continuity. Obviously, it's great to have issue ones because people buy them and get on board. And that's kind of what, even though it's episode 7, it's almost like the equivalent of a Marvel issue 1, because it's like we're resetting a lot of the other Star Wars, and it's very friendly for you to get back involved.
I think so, but with this though, I think they can look at I think Disney can look at that Marvel stuff. But with Star Wars, I think by getting rid of the expanded universe, they're basically just controlling it. Like they've got a really big control on how controlling it.
Sure, but like they're controlling it to a degree, just like as every editor-in-chief of Marvel controls the universe to a degree during his tenure. But 20, 30 years hence, it just inevitably gets uncontrolled because they're not planning where they're going to be 30 years hence. It's just like...
Maybe they are?
Small... No, but it's like, it's an accretive process where like little change, and eventually you go, oh, wow, can we do this for this character? Actually, we can't because in Rogue One, that person died, so that do you know what I mean? Like...
No, I completely get what you mean.
And you want to get... And that's one of the reasons they reset it, because they wanted to give new storytellers the freedom to tell stories they couldn't. But every time they make more and more films, Marvel are publishing a lot of comics, so it's kind of, which are canon. So that, there's one of them like, in each series a month at least. Very quickly, they're filling in gaps. Like already, Han Solo has a wife based on the comics before Leia. You get into these restricted positions. That will have an impact. What maybe could happen in the Han Solo movie?
It's interesting. It's interesting, Daniel.
Does it depress you though that you won't see the end of Star Wars? Nah. I sometimes get anxious if I'm on the second film in a trilogy. Like, what if I die before that comes out? I'm not going to know.
I get anxious. I remember, I know
before
that
Dark Knight Rises came out, I was like, I could die.
Oh, no, I didn't think that. It was at the end of the first rebooted Planet of the Apes film, because I loved that film. Like I properly loved it. And then like the day after I watched it, they announced the next one was coming in. When the next one came out? The last one came out 2014 maybe.
Which The Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Wrong names on them, but
Dawn of the Planet,
yeah. So the second rebooted one, like they announced that like the day after I saw the first one.
Sorry, I didn't know whether you meant the Tim Burton one. And you just say that you love that.
No.
Unconditionally.
The Andy Serkis ones. I remember thinking to myself, that is so far away. Like,
I think
one of
the things I think I'm really anxious about it is I was going to go see Spider-Man with my dad, and my dad was a big Spider-Man fan, and we used to watch Spider-Man cartoons when I was a kid, and he died 3 months before Spider-Man came out.
That's horrible.
So the idea of like, and it was just after I did my GCSEs, so I think it's that's a really sad note to end this week's show on.
It is.
Oh, I'm really sorry about that, but if you've got any feedback, send it to rebelbase@ign.com, and until next week, stay right here on IGN for depressing stories, stuff about Marvel Comics and Star Wars.